Hello everyone, you're welcome back to another episode of Plugged In. I'm Fawaz Olododo and my guest for today is Amam Rochas. He's the founder of Wingist network. Amam, it's nice having you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. So how has your day been?
It's been good. It's it's just a normal day, another day.
Okay. I mean, 2022 is not a year we all asked for. I mean, insurgents, a crash in the economy, and so I would say how has business been this year so far?
It's been challenging, as you said, obviously in your starting statement. It's been not one that we expected in terms of the year 2022. It's been challenging, but it's also been exciting because with these challenges, you find ways to make things work. That's the Nigerian mentality.
So let's get into it. I mean, you should be used to questions like this already. So, as an individual born with a silver spoon, how was growing up like for you, and how was that shaped the kind of person you become today?
Yeah, awesome. So I think, unfortunately, I would answer this maybe a way that you would
In a different way.
In a different way. So I always part of this school of thought to where a human being is dependent on two things: nature and nurture. Nurture is you're born a man or you're born a woman. That's things you don't define, and then that's nature. So, but nurture is how you grow, and things that affected your community around you. So, I think being born with a silver spoon is a question. It's a thing on one hand, but the second thing is actually what is the culture around your family. Like how is what are some family values that each member of the family has to hold on to and all of that. So for us and Rochas family, I think it's one where we've always been instilled with that mentality of nothing is given. Right? Nothing is given. You go and get what you want to get. You go and take it. So nothing is just handed over based on
because you're this person's son.
So you go and carve out your niche, go and create your own market, look for possible demand and supply that demand, basically.
So there was an interview of yours I saw on YouTube where I think you were asked when did your entrepreneurial journey started, and you said back while you were in uni, when in that also. But I mean, most Nigerians, or should I say most average Nigerians, believe that once you're born with a silver spoon, you barely need to also. Basically, they feel like everything is given to you. You have it easy. It's easy to network here and there. You need to meet people. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think, and it's very, very normal and very okay for anyone to have a mentality in that manner. Me personally, because I can only speak for myself. But for again, we were never taught to expect things coming down from based on family name or anything that other. So when I said yes that I hustled, I actually did in the sense of, again, I thank God that I was able to get my school fees paid, which is
yourself?
No, not myself. But in terms of living day to day, I can remember. So I finished up school. I started in Jos. I went to Baptist High School Jos, and I don't know how many people know Baptist High School Jos, but it's one that's not a. But let me try to use our wording of today. It's not a posh school basically where you go and everything's handed to you. You actually have to, wake up in the morning, go fetch your water, all of that. So I started in Baptist Jos, and that's where I started my secondary school. Did my primary school there as well. And then after that, I went to Abuja. I came to Abuja for school at Lee British. And again, I saw the different spectrums of life, basically. And so it was very, very interesting. And I think I was very much humbled by these experiences. And then I finished up in the US. And while I was in the US, yes, I was working. Actually working a 9-to-5 job. So my job was when the kids come in, or the university kids come in, I take their card and I swipe in the gym and all of that. So I was actually getting paid, and that's how. Again, we've always had that mentality of if you want to, however financial freedom you want to have, is going to be based on how much you do. So that's just me personally.
That's amazing. So being a son of an influential person in the society, do you constantly find yourself under pressure probably pressure of having to surpass what your father has done, or probably having to just leave or outdo what he has done? Do you find yourself under pressure of sorts, and how do you handle such pressure?
Okay, I think I'll answer that in two parts. The first thing is I really do thank God for His grace and the also the type of family I was born into, and that's again going back because it's a thing where from a very small age I was told that whatever you want to do you can do, and you can't do it. You don't have to be in the political line, or you don't have to be in the real estate line. I mean, we'll talk about my company. I know that my company doesn't fall in any of these particular niches. So I think first question there is that my family helped me understand that, look, you can go do whatever you want to do and have English. And then secondly is that I wouldn't say there's a pressure in that. I think if we define pressure is, and everybody has certain pressures. Real pressure, I feel like, is, a mother that's trying to find a way to take her kids to school, or to feed the family, or a father trying to do the same as well. So I won't call mine pressure as well. In any sort. It's just that.
So you just do you.
I just do me and do the best me. So I have a motto, and it's being the best I can be at every single time. So that's
amazing. So earlier when I said you were the founder of Wingist Network.
Yes.
So what bettered the network? What was your reason for?
Yes. So Wingist Network. Let me give you a funny story. The idea, and again, you can deduce this from the name, Wingist, was I was just like, look, this might sound a bit off, but I'll give you the insight, but not tell anybody. But literally, it's obviously I finished in the US, and I noticed that a trend was, we as people, as Black people, we have some things that are in tune with who we are and all of that. So I thought about it, and I was like, oh look, why don't I start up a restaurant? Oh, it was supposed to be a food truck actually, because again, I needed to start it by myself, so I didn't have all of that. So it was supposed to be a food truck, and the idea was just to sell chicken wings. Why? Because I really told myself I really do believe that chicken can move very well in Abuja and in Nigeria. So that's how it really did start. But with the way God will have it, from the initial idea of having a food truck, I was able to do a deal with someone that had a space, and I said, look, I'm not going to pay you rent. First of all, I'll give you in 6 months' time, make that payment to you and all of that. But just let me start the business. I want to do a restaurant. So started as a restaurant and sports bar. We opened during COVID 2020. Hopefully the government doesn't see this recording. So yeah, from there was just a natural, and I think this is very much God's doing, to be honest. I must give all honor back. There's a natural love for the brand, Wingist. So it was supposed to be a restaurant, but we had people that would stay there till 11 p.m., 12 a.m., 1 a.m., and just having fun. So from there was a traction with the youths. Obviously, in a period like that, people need entertainment, people need fun, they need to see people. How that then moved was Wingist Network being a brand to where youths just felt like, look, this is ours. And the journey has just been like that. So from there, we opened Hive, which was a partnership as well. We opened Hive. Hive was a rooftop in Central area. And so went to the lounge business. That's
so there's a restaurant, there's a lounge.
Yes, the restaurant. So it was going to be a restaurant, but then I saw, there's money in the lounge as well. So as a businessman, I said, okay, let's do that. Let's go ahead and open a lounge. So we opened Hive the same year. Hive was opened October 2020. And then again, there was record number of success in that outlet as well. And then from Hive, we opened Eden. The same year, so Eden was opened in December. So that's how I started. And it was supposed to be hospitality. But then from there, I just started thinking, and my major goal was to create an ecosystem with hospitality, lifestyle, entertainment, right? Because, these things sort of intertwine one way or the other. So I thought to myself, look, you're already doing this with the restaurants, doing with lounges, you have partnership with a lot of this drink brands, drink sponsors. and why don't we go into events? So we then formed what we call Wingist Network Studios. And people always say, why do you call it studios? You're doing events. But the idea is, whatever event we do, we want it to be like a movie. That you got there and experienced something that you were able to relate to and would stick with you for that. If I was to ask you your favorite movie, you'd tell me like this. Exactly. Yeah. So that was the concept of Wingist Network Studios. So the journey has been in that light. But more importantly, the second part of the Wingist Network as a whole are the people of the network. So what we do something called the Wingist Network members.
Okay.
And from birth, I've always believed that my calling was to be some sort of a bridge, right? So in terms of taking businesses from here to here, or even people, because people are businesses, exactly. So that's what we do mostly now, serving as sort of like a venture capitalist through our ecosystem of what we've already built. So we have some guys that are doing events. We have a lady that we're about to launch this company actually next month, and she's opening an influencer marketing agency, but it's going to be under the network as well. So the network also serves as that sort of like a trampoline for youths with businesses to be able to come and then just scale their businesses.
So as a person, how do you network? I mean, because what you do requires you to be out there, meet a couple of people here and there. Yeah. So how do you network as a person? Yeah,
that's a good question, because I'm not gonna lie to you, I was an introvert.
That's okay, really?
Very much so. I did not really have even communication. Funny story, I did not speak as a child until I was 4 and a half. Yeah. So I was very to myself, basically. So it's been one that's very challenging, but I think that is except from the people aspect of the network, I think that's my greatest joy, because it brought me out of the shell and being able to communicate. As you said, this is a business space where you cannot be to yourself. You have to communicate, talk to people, especially in Abuja. Because Abuja is such a small market containing hospitality and entertainment. But just more than what you can get from these people, it's just also learning from them. So, starting Wingist, I had conversations with a lot of people that you would call pioneers or, the kings in the game. And I really had a lot of conversations with them and getting to pick from their brain and all of that, and just getting wonderful advice. So, being able to network, I think it's very, very much important. It's very much important because people say your network is your net worth. Yeah. But more than your network is really is very important because of you learn things outside your bubble. Everybody lives in a bubble, so you just find out other bubbles and learn things and stuff like that. So,
Thank you, Amam, for all you've said. Before we proceed any further, we're going on a quick break. I'll be right back.
So welcome back to Plugged In. We minister with Amam Rochas. So having to manage several businesses and manage people, getting them to do their tasks on time, delivering what they need to, can be quite exhausting. So how do you go about your day-to-day running of the business at your restaurant, your lounge, and your other businesses as well?
Thank you. That's a good question. I think the shortest answer to that, because I can go in depth in actually the operational manual and all of that, how it works with the network. But the shortest answer would be to say that having a team is very important. What is more important than that is having a strong team. What is more important than having a strong team is knowing expectations. Companies fight because of expectations. People fight because of expectation. So having to manage the expectation in a relationship is all that is key, and that's what matters. So what I tend to do is to have no part of the network is robotic in a way. So there's no set rules that you must follow. It's like, look, we have a vision. These are some things that you cannot do because of what the network stands for. But we have a goal, we have a vision, run with it. So also creating, bringing out the best out of these youths as well that work with the network. That's really what it is. Just managing the expectations and knowing what the vision statement, goal statement, mission statement is.
So despite all this pressure, despite all the obstacles, how do you keep going? What keeps you going despite all these obstacles?
Yeah. I think, no, I don't think, I know. I do think, but I know that what keeps me going is my why.
Okay.
And the why is I wake up knowing that people depend on me.
Yeah, okay.
Right. And people in the sense of the guys and girls in the network and the youths, but also the less privileged.
Yeah.
My family is one that has been able to, and by God's grace, the major thing we do is to give back to the community. So obviously, all our foundations, I have 5 siblings, 2 brothers and 3 sisters. We all have foundations, and all the foundations are under the Rochas Foundation. And Rochas Foundation has been in existence for almost 20-something years now, with 13 schools now across Nigeria, free education schools. And just put that out there, most of these schools, 10 of the 13 schools were done before he ever had a government position. So we always know that giving back or charity is more important than anything. And for me, that's my why. I have to make money to give back. I can give people, I tell people how to fish and all of that, but you still need to give them fish as I teach them how to fish and all of that. So I think my why is that I cannot, I have to keep going because I have to make money. I have to make money to be able to give back to the community and help the community. That's pretty much it.
So going back to my other question about how you network as a person, you didn't really go into details about that. So how do you actually network?
So I think the question is, I'm trying to deduce a smaller question out of the question. In terms of how do I network, and networking is one that should be a natural thing. So if you and I right now, what we're doing, we're networking. After this conversation, we'll talk about business at some point. And you probably lead me to someone that I might need, and vice versa. So that's what networking is all about. Just being intentional in communication. I think that's what networking is.
So my next question is, what makes your brand as a person and as a business unique compared to other brands? And
So I'll start as a company. As Wingist Network, what makes us unique is we're building an ecosystem, which is very, very important. An ecosystem that can benefit its members, but also benefit people outside of the ecosystem as well. What also makes us very much different is we're not looking for just profit. Obviously, we're business, sales matter, revenue matters, but it's also we're spending time in the development of the youths, right? So, and people being able to showcase their strengths and be able to tell their own story as well through our ecosystem. I think that's what really does stand us out. As a personal brand, I'd say it's a thing of just. I think I would say I'm taking not a common route. In terms of, with my age, I think I'm the only one that has like a couple restaurants and lounges. But except from that, in just the idea of hospitality, lifestyle, and entertainment, usually, again, my whole family, everybody's into either real estate or just doing deals basically here and there. So I was the one that decided to, let me go and sell Wings to start. So I think that in itself is different. But more importantly is what I appreciate about my personal brand, by the grace of God, is there's that value chain of being able to bring in people that are, look, I've had a conversation with a lot of youths that are savants in their space. It's just amazing. And being able to be privileged to such, I cannot even thank God enough for that.
So you made mention of what you do as a network, what you stand for. So my next question is, what are your long-term goals for the network?
So long-term goals, I can break this down. And I'll try to do it very quickly. So with the hospitality arm, is to be a name that everyone knows, not just in Abuja, not just in Lagos as we currently are, but even outside of Nigeria, in Africa. So we want to have chains around the world. And so that's the goal with hospitality. And again, it renders a service, being a Nigerian company that renders such a hospitable service that people have not seen before. I think that's one of the main ones. In the event space, again, we want to create a family, right? We want to create a community of people that love experiences through events, concerts, parties, all of that. And then also, what we also actually try to do is to create networking opportunities at our events. So we try to, again, bring people together. But most importantly is that I want to be able to be, I want Wingist Network to be a part of, youths of like 1,000 youths or 2,000 youths in terms of when they tell their life story or their life business, how you're interviewing it, they will tell you that, look, Wingist Network was there. Wingist Network was there when and really was a foot, like a foot mat for them. So, yeah.
So, I mean, you've said so many amazing things. So, to round everything up, what's be your advice to young entrepreneurs trying to navigate their way in your line of business or in business in general? What would be your advice to them?
The major advice would be to just keep going, to keep going. But more importantly, is to know that you always have something to offer. You always have something to offer. For a burger to be done, excuse me, this is a poor example, but just let me just use that. For KFC to give you a burger, there must be bread, there must be chicken or beef, there must be lettuce, there must be tomato, there must be certain things. And that's just how life is, right? So you want to, if there's a business that needs to be done or all of that, there's something you can bring to the table. So if you don't have the finances, you might have the expertise of the business. If you don't have the expertise, you might have the finances or you might have the space. There's something that you can give. It's just to find out where
and who needs it.
Yeah, where and who needs it. Like where's the demand basically? And before you kick off a business or you have a unicorn business. I have a friend that is very much so he does when it comes to finance aspect and money, he doesn't believe in spending his cash. But he's been able to be part of unicorn companies because of his skills, which is in software engineering and all that. So you always have something to offer. I think that's the major thing as well.
So you've said some beautiful things, and I mean it shows that you're self-driven. And on this note, we've come to the end of the show, and so thanks for having you on the show.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be on this platform.
It's an honor having you as well. All right. So on this note, thank you all for listening and stay plugged in.